AITA for telling my ex-husband's girlfriend stay in her lane when it comes to my kids. Before we get started, I've had a bottle of wine, so forgive my grammar. I'm also on mobile and it's a throwaway because I don't use Reddit. My sister suggested I come here for help because she hates my ex, and here's why. 5 years ago, while I was in the waiting part of labor, you know where the epidural kicks in but you're hours away from the main event, my then husband told me he needed to get some food because he was starving. In his hungry hurry he left his phone behind him, which every few seconds kept getting notifications, me thinking it was his or mine family checking up. I asked the midwife pass me the phone. He literally was updating his mistress on my labor, and how can I put this sweet, taking her about how even though he was with me she still had his full attention. Let's say when he come back it was showtime after me screaming the place down. My midwife, amazing woman, kicked him out and my sister ended up coming in. Because there's a word count, I'll cut it short. I moved in with my parents with my 5 kids. We got divorced, they got together. I'm civil to my ex for my kids' sake, but I barely speak to her. She's my cousin. My kids 15F, 13 meters, 13 meters, 8 meters, 5F. Have recently become obsessed with Harry Potter since my 15-year-old made a TikTok, and lots of people pointed out that my 4 oldest look like the Weasleys. My twins have the same personalities as F and G. So this brings me onto the situation. My youngest since then has been dressing up as a different character every week, like Harry, Draco, Snape, the dude from Twilight. You can see the pattern of it just being male characters. Personally, I don't care if my kids are happy, I'm happy. Which brings me onto the situation today. While I was dropping them off, my ex's girlfriend asked to speak to me about my kids, especially my youngest. She basically told me it was weird and they weren't right in the head. So are we gonna do about the situation at hand? I told her she's a fucked her cousin's husband, so her ideas on what people should do aren't something I want my kids picking up, and that my kids are fine, she isn't their mom nor will they ever see as such, and that they hate her guts, her doing, but that's another story. And finally, she should stay in her lane when it comes to my kids. Kids weren't there when it happened, and left. A few hours later ex calls me screaming saying I was an asshole and his girlfriend has been crying all day about the mother thing because she can't have kids and I need to apologize, so that's why I'm here. Edit: my oldest rang me to collect them. Apparently my ex had hidden all their costumes. He has a garden like the Malfoy one, so they wanted to do TikToks, and his GF held a family meeting about the HP obsession and basically belittled my kids, especially my 5-year-old. Second youngest video her, which is now on Facebook. I had my sister come with me and I told my ex I'll be going for full custody. I took my kids out to the car at that stage, but my sister just let loose. NTA, dude, she fucked your husband and was texting her while you in the delivery room, and she thinks it's okay to consult you about some dress up. They're freaking kids, lol. You didn't do it in front of the kids, so it's kosher, and it's even more since you're standing up for your kids and they've expressed their upset with her prior. BTW impressive drunk paragraph. Texting her cousin and promising he loved her most while his wife was birthing his 5th fucking kid. Can't even. Insane. I have no advice, I need to process. NTA. She was way out of line for trying to tell you how to parent your kids. You can do what they want when they're at their dad's house. She should just talk to her BF. So weird. No need to bring you into this. My oldest has recently started going to her dad's again because his girlfriend started drama about my daughter being on TikTok. She literally talked him into demanding she delete the app, so maybe they wanted me to be the bad guy. Wait. This cheater is your cousin? Edit: NTA. Oh yeah, she not only ruined my marriage but my mom and aunt's relationship. NTA. FK that woman. She's horrid from the sounds of it, but definitely ask the kids if she's ever put them down verbally to their faces. If she says that about a 15-year-old just for cosplaying, that's concerning. I'd hate for them to get a low self-esteem or any doubt from her dumb words. Yeah, she said some nasty things in the past about my daughter's TikTok videos, normal teenager stuff. She regularly asks my sister's opinion about them. and my youngest liking boys stuff, but my kids stand up to her, which causes their dad to punish them, so that's why they don't like her. AITA for not telling my Mill who I was. This is a weird situation, but I was married to my husband for 6 years before I met Mill. Mill is from a culture where respecting your elders is everything, and the Dill has to pretty much grovel to make her Mill happy. My husband knew up front that I wasn't going to play into that. Him and his mom already had her bad relationship, and he told her that I was not going to partaking, so she went fully no contact. He still sees his dad and sister about once a year, but Mill and his older brother don't see him and never met me. Mill has 3 children. Bill is married to a woman from their culture who is scared shitless of Mill, and Mill has some fun with that and takes out her anger towards her own Mill on poor Sil. Sil is her golden child, but does find this a little ridiculous and stay in contact with my husband. Anyway, we visited Phil over the summer. He doesn't mention anything to Mill because she says my husband is dead to her, and he respects that. My husband gets migraines and wasn't feeling well, so laid down at the hotel, and Phil took me and Sil to lunch. Halfway through, some woman came over and it took me a minute to realize it was Mill. She looks super young, like way too young to be my husband's mom, so I genuinely didn't put it together at first. Also, all I knew of this woman was that she was so old school she would cut her son off over respect, so I didn't expect her to be wearing shorts and a tank top. By the time I realized who she was, her and her friend had already invited themselves to join us. Phil said that I was Sil's friend and gave me a death stare, so I just went along with it. She was very nice, though lunch was hella awkward. When we got back to the hotel, I told my husband and he got mad. He said I should have told her who I was, and that I let her win. I guess Sil told her when they got home, and Mill lost it and was screaming and throwing shit around. Sil also thinks I should have told her, but so she would have had the option to leave. NTA. What were you supposed to do? Disregard your Phil's obvious warning and let your Mill throw a public fit? BC, you know that's what would have happened. NTA. Phil lost it. I'd say you won, smile. Yeah, am I the only person here who thinks this is absolutely hilarious? Phil made nice with a woman she would otherwise have treated like dog shit, and threw a tantrum about it. If my fiance and I were in the same position, we'd never stop laughing about this. NTA, op. NTA, your Phil literally gave you every sign to not say anything, so you did what you thought was being asked of you to keep the peace. You literally didn't know who this woman was when she sat down. What were you supposed to do? I'm sure they would have been more upset if you would have defied your Phil's wishes by humiliating and contradicting him in front of everyone. I agree, NTA, in the end you followed your Phil's lead. Tell your husband your Sil told Mill who you were. Considering your Mill shat a brick on learning who you were, you think she won? The only one who won was Phil for successfully having a nice meal with most of his female relations. NTA. Sounds like you were trying to save your Phil a bunch of aggravation since he gave you the look. Remind your husband that he, Phil and Sil are not being honest with Mill either. AITA for refusing to do extra work ever since my pay got cut. I work for a small tech company, 20 to 30 employees, where I used to be a service technician, but after a few years I took a job in the office as I wanted a more stable schedule, as I want to start a family at some point in the near future. I enjoy the office work, I get along well with my boss/co-workers, and on occasion I go back into the field to help/train newbies. They didn't change my pay and I got yearly raises as usual. Work was going well, but some higher-ups thought that some departments were overspending, and so they hired someone to manage all the departments and make cuts on things we were wasting money on. I guess I'm one of those things that the company was wasting money on, because I got called into this manager's office. She informed me that I make the money a technician does, but I don't bring in the money service technicians do, because I'm rarely out on calls and mostly work in the office. She told me I'm not a technician and gave me a pay cut. I didn't argue or make a scene, although I made a mental note to start looking for other options for work, and I went back to work. Frustrations grew from there as she decided that there would be no Christmas bonus this year. Fast forward a few weeks and we're at the present where today I was asked to go out in the field. Told them I'm told not a technician and I don't get paid what a technician does, so I can't go. Well, this sparked up a whole thing where this manager called me into the boardroom with some higher ups from the company. She tried to butter me up by telling me that I'm a vital asset to the company and she doesn't want me to leave, but I'm being unreasonable and I shouldn't be arguing about my pay and that helping out in with the technicians is part of my job. So I got her to pull up my job description and nowhere on it does it mention doing technician work. I explained that if I'm working in the office I'll play by her rules and take the reduced pay, but if I'm asked to go out and do technician work I want my technician pay on those days. She again refused, so I told her if I'm being paid an office worker's salary then I'm going to work in the office until she changes her mind. The higher ups in the room said they would have to discuss this and I didn't end up going out to help the technician. So am I being unreasonable, and more importantly AITA? NTA, if you were such a vital asset to the company then they wouldn't have cut your pay. They are trying to squeeze everything out of you while paying you the minimum that they can get away with. Continue doing the essentials and brush up on your resume. Yup, I've never had trouble finding a job in the past with my background, and I was thinking after having a few years that this job might be the one I stick with, but if this is how they're gonna act it might be time for me to start applying. NTA, your employer's unanticipated consequences for making unwise salary and staffing decisions aren't your issue. You are in fact playing by their rules, to the letter. They now want you to bail them out of the bad decision. You're under no obligation to do so, unless they're willing to play by their own rules, and compensate you fairly. P.S. Be fully prepared to be let go. Petty people can never admit that they were wrong. NTA, I think we need to work toward a society where everyone can stand up for themselves like you. Some of the best advice I got was from the man who trained me. He told me that I should know my worth and instead of getting angry to just play the long game. NTA, but I hope you have something lined up soon, cause I doubt you'll be employed there for much longer. Sorry this is happening to you. Unfortunately, due to our current scenario not many places are hiring, but I've got enough saved that I can make due on unemployment for probably close to a full year.